Solving quadratic equations by graphing. Okay, we essentially did this last class. We have our expression all written out here. What we're going to be doing is when we go to graph these things, we essentially want to set the equation equal to 0. So this is similar to standard form, except we have a constant of 3 on one side. So in order to graph this, we're going to move the negative 3 over to the other side of the equation. When we do that, we're going to get x squared minus 8x plus 12. When the 3 comes over, it becomes plus 3 is equal to 0. We'll simplify 12 and 3. So our standard form of the equation is now x squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0. Now, anyone know what form this is? Standard. Okay? In order to graph it, what form do we want to get into? Factor. From standard form, what information can I use in terms of graphing? The y-intercept. What is the y-intercept here? 15. We know that our constant term will be the y-intercept when we go to graph this. So we'll put an actual graph up after, but we'll just put the points here. So we know that we have a y-intercept at 15. That's all we know about this graph so far. So we need to factor this in order to graph the rest of it. It'll help us find our x-intercepts. And in order, again, to find x-intercepts, we have to make sure we're set equal to 0. So when I go to factor this, I got to find the factors of the first term, which are just 1x and 1x, and factors of 15, 1 and 15, and 3 and 5. We know we're going to take their products and add them up to what term? Negative 8. X. Okay? Quickly looking at this, what are we going to be multiplying? We're going to have to take the 1x times 3 and the 1x times 5. And we're going to need for both of them to be what? Negative, that's right. If they're both negative, what is negative 3 times negative 5? Positive 15. So we know that the multiplication works. So we can take those as our second terms. So the 1x, or the x, will be the first term in each bracket. And then because they're the first terms are the exact same, we can technically put negative 3 and negative 5 in either bracket is equal to 0. So this step here, we're strictly just factoring. Okay? We use that information to factor. We went from the standard form here, and after all of our factoring, to the factored form. Okay. Now that we're in factored form, we know that it's multiplied to equal 0. So we're going to take both of these equations and split it. X minus 3 will set equal to 0, and x minus 5 will set equal to 0. Oops, I should say minus 5 equals 0. Yeah, this is help us find x-intercepts and then axis of symmetry. So, our two x-intercepts are at 3 and 5. That's what we've discovered so far. So we take that information. We have one x-intercept at 3 and another at 5. Okay? So we probably, and from standard form, there is one other piece of information we can figure out. From standard form, what's the A value here?
Stretch compressed 1.
Okay, we can tell the stretch or compress. What is it? 1. Positive or negative? Positive. So which way is this parabola opening? Up. So because that was positive, we have a pretty good idea that this parabola probably does something like this. We've already discovered the two x-intercepts. We know the y-intercept, and we knew the A value to be positive, so we know it opened upwards. From there, we take these x-intercepts, and we have to find the axis of symmetry. Okay? And that's where we take the two x-intercepts, they usually call them R and S, and divide them by 2. So in this case, we have 3 plus 5 divided by 2. Gives us 8 divided by 2. What's our axis of symmetry? 4. 4 falls right in between the middle of those two, so that makes perfect sense.
Negative 4.
Okay? Falls right through the middle at 4. We've got that information. Axis of symmetry is x equals 4. The last thing I want to find out about this parabola is the vertex. I could take this number 4, and plug it in for the x values in standard form or in factored form. Both ways will work. I think the last time I did this, I did it in factored form for you guys. So we'll plug it into the standard form this time. The standard form is x squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0. Sorry. We need to equal y because we're figuring out what y is. Okay? We're going to take this 4 and plug it in for both of the x values. So we're going to be left with 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 15 is equal to y. 4 squared is 16. Negative 8 times 4, anyone know? Good. Plus 15 equals y. And 15 plus 16 is 31, so we're going to get negative 32 plus 31 equals y. Y is what? Negative 1. So, what we just discovered is the vertex is at 4 and negative 1. So we have a vertex at 4 and negative 1. We'll say that's down here. So all we would really have to do is connect the dots. And we have our graph. Okay? Obviously, it'd be nicer if we drew it on a proper graph, but we just got the makeshift one just so we had an idea. We did all of this last class. I just did it a little more condensed for you today.